TitleMatchNetwork.com.
So now Eric Bischoff.
You know, it's funny. Eric was the boss at WCW, the main man, I guess. You know, one day you don't remember Eric. Eric was a cameraman in Memphis, Channel 5, when we was there in our early career. I didn't remember Eric. I never met him when in Memphis, and didn't know any of the camera guys really. But Eric's obviously a good TV man. He knows what he's doing there. And then he was the boss there in Atlanta, and had all kind of guys that was working in the office for him that I thought was as good as you could get. We'll start with Gagne, Greg Gagne. Been around the business all his life. His daddy was a big-time promoter in Minnesota.
Did you ever work at AWA?
Yes, a couple times. Then he had Mike Graham, same thing. Been around the wrestling business all his life. Bill Dundee, very good. Robert Fuller, been around the business all his life. And then there was another one or two. How could you go wrong? You got 4 or 5 of the finest minds that's seen it all.
Right.
If you're going to put a show together, a good show, they should be able to do it. He fired Greg Gagne. I don't know what the argument was about. You know, for me, to fire somebody like Greg, it'd have to be something pretty serious before I'd fire somebody like that. You know, but my spot at WCW ended before it all folded up.
Right.
You know, so I don't know really what happened down there. They had all the talent in the world. You know, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. They had Bunkhouse and you name it.
Memories of your matches with the Blue Bloods? I think it was Regal and Eaton.
Yes. Steve Regal. You know, I respect all them British wrestlers because they all go through a very tough school, Wiggins school over in London, I guess, some part of England. You make it through that school, you're going to be very good. So, you know, the boys that ever came out of England were very tough, could really wrestle, and, you know, I always respect them. I always must about had all of them had great matches with them. There was a British boy by the name of Tony Charles, Billy Robinson. He came out of there about the same time with him. And Tony was a great friend of mine. And Steve was a super nice guy. So, you know, I always enjoyed being around him.
What are some of your early memories of Eddie Graham?
Same thing as Buddy Fuller. Every time I got around Eddie, I tried to be like a sponge and just soak up everything that I could, all the knowledge I could get from him, because he was brilliant.
Right.
As far as the wrestling business went. I thought made a lot of money. You know, I guess that's what counts. Had a huge territory in the state of Florida, and just all kinds of talent. I mean, from head to toe, from the first match to the end. You know, the wrestling fans would leave there most all the time saying, "What a great show."
Were you ever frustrated at all with not getting a big push?
Not really. You know, because it's about money.
Right, exactly.
I've seen my glory days when I was a young man. Hell, I had plenty of that. I was only interested in one thing, is just making a living.
Right.
You know, I don't care about all that biz-wax stuff, you know, and arguing back and forth. My goodness, you know, for some of the money some of them guys is making, I'd do about anything I was told.
You also were involved in a War Games in the WCW. What are your memories of the War Games match?
I'm trying to recall this one now.
Yeah, I forgot who you worked. I just noticed the 2 rings with the double cage.
2 rings of double cage.
Yeah. One of the pay-per-views. I don't remember which pay-per-view it was, though. I'll come back to that.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering that too.
Remember? Why did you end up leaving WCW?
I had a contract, 94 and 95, about 2 years. And my contract ran out, and then it was just independent shows after that, here and there, a nightly deal. Didn't have the contract anymore, and then first thing you know, they was out of business. I wasn't going back anymore.
Did you ever try to contact WWF or WWE? Did they ever try to contact you?
Yeah, I talked to Terry Garvin. That was before WCW days.
Right.
Terry was in office up there. I've known Terry for years, Ronnie. And with it was a long list of guys to go into New York. I could have probably told him to put my name down on the list. Never was really gung-ho about going to New York. It's probably a big mistake, that's where the money's at. But, being an old southern country boy, I'd get lost up there in New York. I always enjoyed being down south. And, if you work in New York, it's long, hard trips, and you may make great money, but how many times do you see home?
All right.
It's something to think about, And I always did pretty well in the South or wherever it might have been at the time.
Were you surprised when WCW went out of business?
Yeah. Like I said, with all the talent they had and all the great minds that they had, you thought they'd have been able to make that thing click.
All right. Did you ever want to try to move into the booking role? Or did you just like...
Yeah, I did. Not until just here recently. The past few years ago, we did the thing in Knoxville called Rocky Top.
Right.
And a guy named James Strange, Pritchard was there, Condrey was there, and Ricky Morton, and a bunch of good guys. But James asked me to do the booking for him there, and as long as it lasted, it worked out well. I thought we had some good stuff. I found myself getting into it. It was something I could get my teeth into. Robert and Ron and Bob and all the guys that we was associated with years in the past all tried to get me to do the booking thing for years. I always turned it down because it's going to take up too much of my time, and I was having too good of a time just being one of the boys.
Right.
But I did find it to be very interesting at Rocky Top. It's just too bad it didn't last very long.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.